What do you do when someone is trying to get behind you and you can't let that happen? He kept faltering in his steps, slowing down, trying to fall back, and every time he did, I just stopped and waited until he kept walking. I had car keys between my fingers, a fist-sized rock hidden just behind my back, and gravel stuffed in my pocket because I wanted every possible weapon at my disposal. We were two women alone at an empty roadside stop in Wyoming, and something was very, very wrong. Let me tell you how we got there. It was May of 2024. I'd just been let go from my job, company downsizing, but I wasn't panicking. I had severance, I had savings. For the first time in a long time, I had a little breathing room. My best friend, she's 28, had just inherited a car from her family out in California. She needed to fly out there and drive it back to New Orleans, and she wanted to make a real trip of it. 2 weeks in California, then 2 weeks driving back east across the country, stopping to see things along the way. She asked if I wanted to come. She offered to cover my plane ticket, every hotel stay, and all the gas. All I had to bring was money for my own food. I told her that felt like too much. She told me it wouldn't even make a dent. She said she'd feel safer having a trusted friend on a cross-country drive, and that it would just be a fun trip for both of us. So I said yes. I was born and raised on the East Coast. I had never seen California before. The fresh air, the total absence of that heavy coastal humidity I'd grown up with. I loved it. We collected the car and we started driving east. Nevada, Utah, and then we crossed into Wyoming. Right after crossing the Wyoming border, we pulled over. There was a gas station, a diner beside it, and across the street, a little welcome center, the kind with a big billboard sign and an open view of the surrounding cliffs and a railroad cutting through the canyon below. We needed gas and snacks. We weren't hungry enough to sit down at the diner. My friend loves photography. She wanted to walk over to the welcome center and get pictures of the canyon and the railroad. I stayed in the car. I get vertigo spells, migraines. I was reclined in the passenger seat, trying to rest one off. While she went to take her photos, the area was quiet, nearly empty. Just us at the welcome center and maybe 2 cars over at the diner across the street. Wide open, exposed, and then a man walked up behind her. He didn't call out, didn't make any sound to let her know he was there. He only said something after she spun around and saw him standing there. I sat up immediately. I couldn't hear what he was saying. She was responding to him calmly, too calmly, and then she made a slight hand signal toward the car. Toward me. I grabbed the keys out of the ignition, the only thing I had, and I got out. I also didn't want to risk him getting to the car first. When he saw me step out, he looked surprised. And then his entire demeanor shifted. Something in him went fidgety. Hey, what's up? I kept my voice direct, casual, like I wasn't running every possible scenario through my head at full speed. He said he just wanted someone to take his picture in front of the Welcome to Wyoming sign by the road. Could we help him out? Here's the thing. We could have said no. We probably should have said no. But you never really know how someone is going to react to being told no. And he had one hand in his pocket the whole time. I couldn't tell what, if anything, he was holding. So we said yes. My friend played it calm. She walked with him toward the sign, chatting like everything was completely fine. I walked close behind them both, watching him. The entire way there, he kept faltering, slowing his steps like he was trying to let us get ahead of him. I didn't allow it. Every time he slowed down, I slowed down too. Stopped. Waited. He never looked back at me, but he knew I was there. His shoulders were tense. His movements were off. I had the car keys threaded between my fingers. I glanced over at the diner across the street, making sure we stayed visible from it, though I knew that wasn't a guarantee of anything. Bystanders don't always act. I couldn't count on anyone but myself. I listened to everything he said. He told us he was on a business trip with coworkers, said he was from Brazil, but his accent sounded Slavic to me. Not that those two things are mutually exclusive. I'm just giving you the details I noticed. Slight tan, very short dark hair, lean build, maybe 5'10", 6 feet. My friend and I are both around 5'5", 5'6", but I've been told I look a little intimidating for a woman. In that moment, I was counting on it. My friend asked where his coworkers were. He said they were at the diner across the street, but his car wasn't parked at the diner. It was parked at the Welcome Center, closest to the road. My vertigo was completely gone. My migraine, forgotten. I was running on pure adrenaline, and everything had slowed down to this strange, sharp clarity where I was thinking 5 steps ahead at all times. We got to the sign. My friend took his picture, twice. He looked at the photos, said they were good, thanked us. And then he just kept talking, asking how we liked America, asking if we'd ever traveled outside the country, just standing there by the road. I kept glancing to check for passing cars. We stood there for what felt like 5 full minutes before he finally started walking back toward the parking lot, in a very slow shuffle, like he was stalling, and again, trying to drop back behind me every time. While his back was turned, I crouched and stuffed some gravel and sand into my pocket. A moment later, I picked up a rock, fist-sized, and kept it just behind me, out of his sightline. My mind had already gone somewhere I'd never been before. I was mentally preparing myself to do whatever I had to do if this escalated. When we reached the parking lot, my friend and I stopped. He finally looked back, glanced at his car, glanced at us, and then started talking again. He would finish a topic, go quiet for a few seconds, and then bring up something new. Another question, another topic, stalling, over and over. It went on for another 5 minutes. Finally, I said, "Well, we better get back on the road. We're expected." He looked uneasy. Then he said, "Oh, well, okay. Thanks for the help. Goodbye." And he turned and walked very quickly back to his car. My friend started moving toward ours. I stopped her. "Wait. I want to make sure he drives off first." He said his coworkers were at the diner. I wasn't getting in that car and pulling onto the road until I knew he wasn't going to follow us. So we stood there, pretending to have a conversation, in case he was watching from his car. We stayed until he drove away, until we couldn't see his car anymore. Then we got in ours. Both of us were shaking. Hands, shoulders. That full body tremor that hits you after the adrenaline finally releases and your body starts trying to process what just happened. My friend told me she'd felt like he was going to try to take her, that's what her gut had been screaming the entire time. She said to me, "I'm so glad I brought you on this trip. You looked like a German shepherd when you sat up in that car the second I signaled you." We didn't run into any further problems on the rest of the trip. At the very next stop, we both bought mace. We didn't talk about what might have happened if things had gone differently. We didn't need to. I've never really been in a fight. My whole life, I've managed to de-escalate before things ever got physical. And maybe that's what happened here too. Maybe stepping out of that car, staying close, refusing to let him drop behind us. Maybe all of it added up to something that made him think twice. Or maybe nothing was going to happen and he was just strange. Maybe. But I know what I felt, and I know what my friend felt. And I know what it looks like when someone is deliberately trying to maneuver themselves into a better position. When someone is stalling because they're waiting for something, something was off. If you take a road trip, have someone with you if you can. Stay alert when you stop anywhere. Keep your eyes on your surroundings. And if something feels wrong, trust that. If this one put you on edge, if you've ever been in a situation where your gut was screaming and you had to just hold it together, leave a comment below. I read every single one. A like helps someone else find this. And if you want to hear more stories like this one, subscribe. I'll be here.